I've spent a lot of years helping contractors build companies that give them more life and not just more work. And the truth really is that most construction business owners are chasing freedom, but they're building a business and a system that guarantees that they'll never have it. And I want to help you fix that with some actual actionable advice in this video. Here's part one: a systemized pre-construction process. Let me tell you about a contractor named Kevin. He was a great builder, and he had been in the game for over 15 years. Clients loved him, his crew loved working with him, but every week was complete chaos. Monday would roll around and he'd be scrambling because he didn't have updated pricing from his subs. He didn't have final plans approved. He didn't have permits pulled. He was still trying to figure out if the client really understood what they were getting for the quoted price. Every job felt like they were starting from scratch, and because of that, every job was a problem. He was chasing answers, double checking numbers, and he spent hours each week managing things that should have been decided before the contract was even signed. So the shift came when he built a simple, repeatable pre-construction process that included using Structure to get the leads automatically, the flow from his website straight into the new lead column on his leads pipeline. It also included a templated estimating system. It also included a list of qualifying questions that he asked every single client on an intake call, and a step-by-step checklist to make sure nothing got missed before breaking ground. It included a pre-construction meeting, which was a form within Structure that his team filled out. So every form field got filled out before the job started. And also he gave his superintendents a pre-construction checklist that got checked off before any job got started. So once he started running all of his jobs through this new pre-construction process, his estimating got tighter, his schedule smoothed out, and he started saying no to bad jobs that used to eat up his time and his profit margins. So here's the best part. Once you systemize how jobs start, you stop being the only one holding it all together once the job actually gets started. But that's just the first part, because even with great systems, you'll never get your time back if everything still runs through you. So here's a hard truth, and I've had to learn this the hard way, and I've seen it show up in nearly every contractor that I've ever talked to. Most contractors say they've delegated, right? They've tried. But what that really means is they've handed off tasks, but they kept all the decisions, and they never actually handed over outcomes and held people accountable. So let me show you what this looks like. Let's say you hire a project manager, right? And you give them a job to run. Great, go run this job. But now they're calling you 5 times a day saying, hey, the plumber never showed up. And what should I do? The tile's back ordered. Hey, can we get something else? The client's asking to move the fridge again. How should I respond? And this is what we call decision bottlenecking. And you're actually not building freedom at this point. You're building a more expensive version of being stuck. What's the fix? Delegate authority and give them a framework. The shift comes from you stop assigning tasks and start delegating decisions backed by processes. And here's how we can do it. Create a decision-making framework. If a sub is more than an hour late, your project manager knows who's the backup and what steps to follow. If a change order request comes in, they know the budget limits that they're allowed to approve without checking in. If X happens, then do Y. And here's your range of what you're allowed to work with. I like to think of it kind of like a bowling alley. Like, it's your job as the construction business owner to set up the guardrails and then let them bowl, let them go for it. And if something kind of falls outside of the guardrails, then it's okay. They can come to you and they can ask questions. You're not saying to your team, never ask me questions. You're just giving them more of defined guardrails and a platform, the bowling alley. And then at the end of every week, how many balls did you roll down? How many pins did you hit? Keep them accountable. And that's the purpose of like a Structure scorecard in your standard operating procedure area, to keep all your staff accountable. It's that simple. That's how you can build a business. It's your job, if you want to own a business, to put all this in place. Then sit back in the chair, get a pizza, and watch your team bowl. There was this GC a while back that I worked with. Steve, he had this problem. He had a great team, but poor delegation. Everything still came back to him. So we started mapping out just one weekly task that he hated: change order approvals. We wrote a simple rule. If a change order is under $1,500 and doesn't affect structural work, your project manager can approve it directly. Just log into Structure. That one rule saved him 8 to 10 interruptions every single month, and it gave his project manager the confidence to own their role. So here's your action step this week. Pick one recurring situation or problem that you are annoyed with, that your team still brings to you. Then build a decision-making framework for it. What should they watch for? What limits can they act within? How do they track that? Then document it within Structur is the easiest way in your standard operating procedures. Then you want to train your team on it, right? Just host a little meeting, walk them through the SOP. Then most importantly, hold the line when they come back to you with something that they've already been empowered to own. Right? Say, no, let's pull up the SOP and let's review this together. Delegation isn't about disappearing, and I want to be very clear about that. It's about building a structure that lets your team win without you needing to hold their hand every step of the way. But even when you have systems and you've delegated, if your time still isn't protected, you're never going to feel the actual freedom that you've built this all for, right? So let's talk about the final piece of my little freedom formula here. And it's ownership. I want to get real for a second. Most contractors that, I've talked to in the past and everything like that, they don't really have a time management problem. They have a priority ownership problem. They think that they're too busy to plan, too busy to delegate, too busy to lead. But if you never claim ownership over your time, then the business will claim it for you. Here's an example of where time can slip away from you. I had a coaching client back in the day. His name was Chris, super sharp GC, doing 2 to 3 million a year, but completely maxed out. He was working 60 plus hours a week, still fielding every subcontractor call, still jumping into building project schedules, still chasing invoices, still texting clients at 9 p.m. So we broke it down and realized something critical. Chris was spending 80% of his time in reaction mode. There was no margin, no leadership space, no thinking time. And without space to think, you can't lead. And here's the shift that Chris made, and I want you to try as well. Number one, block strategic time like it's a client meeting. We had him block 90 minutes every Friday morning. No calls, no job site fires, no emails. His phone was on Do Not Disturb, and his team knew that he was unavailable for those 90 minutes. And he would think through the next week. He would even think through the next quarter. He would even think through the next year on some weeks, He started calling this his builder's strategy session. It became non-negotiable because this is the most important thing. Number two, batch the chaos. Instead of 100 micro interruptions in a day, we created check-in windows. 10:30 a.m., team call. 3 p.m., project manager and any open issues. That's the time for that. So that alone gave him at least 15 hours in a week back, and he started feeling like the owner again. Number three, use your systems to guard your time. So Structur actually helped him avoid all the unnecessary interruptions by showing him where his team was at with like the weekly scorecards, for example, and the project dashboards. He could see where everything stood. And even just using the tasks feature, he was able to see where all the tasks stood. He created different task boards for different departments, and it was as simple as that, all in one system. And by getting on Structur, all of his change orders were under change orders under the project management area. All of his RFIs were in one spot. All of his submittals were in one spot. All of his schedules, all of his daily logs, everything was in one spot. So he could just click through and look at his dashboard and see the health of his company. If something like this interests you, I'd recommend getting started with Structur for completely free. Give it a shot. We're making it better and better each month that goes by. Check it out, structur.com. So here's an action step for you. Pull up your calendar, find a 90-minute block and schedule it every single week. And during that time, ask yourself 3 questions. What's one part of the business that I'm too involved in, and how can I fix that? What's one system that I can improve upon this month? And what's one team member that I can train to take more ownership? So put it on the calendar and protect that block like your life depends on it, because the future of your business does. Now let's zoom out together. Let's take a look at the big picture here for a second. What does freedom really mean? It means you're not the first one on site and the last one to leave. And you're not the first one in the office and you're not the last one to leave. In fact, you don't even need to show up to the office for everyone to do what they're supposed to do. And you're not running on fumes just to make the numbers work. Freedom means you've built a real business, one that works with you, not against you. So I hope this video was helpful for you to get more freedom in your life and give you some tangible ways for you to get there. So if you want more time, more control, and more freedom in your business, it won't come from working harder. It's going to come from building a machine and having time to think. You need to schedule that CEO time on your calendar. Then you need to hold your team accountable to the systems that you built. Remember the bowling alley. You need to build the bowling alley, put the rails in place, give them the tools, the bowling balls, which is like using Structure for everything. And Structure will help you build quickly. You can use our templates inside of there on your SOPs to build all of these things for you. So it's really a beautiful thing. It's honestly pretty magical. If you like this video, leave a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching my YouTube channel. Peace.